everyone, it's Carrie from Next Time Craft Studio. I just want to thank everybody who's watched and commented and subscribed to my channel so far. It's been a great journey and I am excited to continue making videos for you all. Now here it's August and I found a bunch of items that I think would fit really well within the theme of organization, so here we go.
Our first project is a picture frame corkboard. I saw this little wood picture frame at a garage sale and noticed it had a lot of space under the frame, and I thought it'd be perfect to add a piece of cork to. I'm going to use the frame backing to cut out the right size of the corkboard. And guess what? It doesn't fit. And that's okay, this is a pretty easy fix. I just make a pencil line kind of along where it should actually fit in the frame, and you'll see that fixes the whole problem. And now it's time to paint the frame. I think this color is FolkArt Home Decor chalk paint in Maui Sand Gray. After 2 coats and I've let it dry, I'm gonna add a bit of silver paint for some dimension. I'm not gonna coat the whole thing, I'm just gonna use my brush to kind of flick along the frame. So I wanted to try out this Flash Iridescent blue FolkArt paint that I found at Michael's for like $3. I thought it'd be good to try a little bit around and see what it looks like. It turned out pretty subtle, but it's still nice. And now to add some clear Rust-Oleum sealant. And it's finished. I did add a couple of little flower transfers as well to the edges. Put one of these in an easy to see place and leave little reminder notes for yourself and your family. Next up is a vintage wood spice rack. This cute little sailboat spice rack I got from a garage sale, and I knew I could update it and make it a lot cuter. Growing up, my mom had a 2-level one of these, and I took it and used it as a little bookshelf for my Barbies, and it worked great. We're going to start with a base coat of FolkArt chalk paint and oatmeal. Now I'll apply the top coat color, which is the FolkArt chalk paint in Salmon Coral. I wanted this to have a bit of a darker aged look, so we're going to use some of the FolkArt wax in brown. I'm just using a piece of scrap linen in order to apply this. It does look like a lot of product at first, but the cloth does soak up a bunch of it and it will be kind of rubbed in and applied over the whole thing. Later on, I'll be wetting the linen down and that will also remove some of the really dark spots just to kind of make it a little more even over the whole piece. Once I had the wax color how I wanted it, I kind of added a little bit more aging by removing some of the paint with sandpaper or a wet sponge. I found these nice antique brass filigree kind of rose decor pieces in my stash, and I thought they'd make a great addition to the top. So I'm just going to apply them down with a clear Gorilla Glue. The final step is to seal it all up with some FolkArt clear wax. And here's how I staged this on the wall of my own home. I think it's perfect for storing a little vintage bottle collection. Now let's check out these vintage sock stitchers. I wanted to upcycle one of these into something that I could actually use, so I broke open the little steel ring that was holding them together and put the other aside for a future project. I'm going to paint the whole thing with the chalk paint from FolkArt in the color sheepskin. Once the paint was dry, it's time for the wood pegs. I bought a little box of assorted pegs online, and I chose the same shape in a few different sizes to go along the middle between the little holes that were already there. I'm just quickly doing another coat, just because I noticed it didn't quite have enough coverage. And while I'm at it, of course, I have to paint the pegs to match as well. I think I need to figure out a better way to paint these little pegs. I was getting paint on my fingers. I didn't know how else to kind of rotate them around. If you guys have any ideas about how to do it better, you let me know. After everything's dry, I'm going to attach the pegs using Gorilla Wood Glue. I didn't have any transfers that I really liked, so I'm trying out these rose stickers that I found. And as usual, we'll protect the paint and the stickers with a Rust-Oleum clear coat. I wanted to originally hang this with a couple of sawtooth hangers, but the little nails that came with them, I realized they were just too long to go through how thin this wood is. They would have come out the other side, so I'm going to try these eyelets on the top, and I marked where I wanted them to go. I tried to screw them in by hand and realized this really wasn't going to work, so I'm gonna get some help with this. So I got my boyfriend to hold the piece while I used a drill set in my Fordham handpiece. Pre-drilling really helps to prevent the wood from splitting, but also really helps to get the screw in. Unfortunately, one of them broke off, so I'm just going to sand and fill that in. To hang, I'm just going to add some jute cording on the top, and to really give it some strength and stability, I'm going to add some 3M Velcro sticks to the back as well. And there it's done. It can't really hold anything heavy, but it's perfect for light stuff like hats and scarves and jewelry and things like that, or it's perfect for a yarn room to hang your projects up. I really love how this turned out. On to, I think, my favorite project, turning a casserole tray into a shelf. Now, I didn't have a picture of it beforehand, but you'll see it in a bit. I'm taking this old piece of shed siding and I'm cutting it down, and I'm going to sand it so that it fits within the circular casserole dish. Once I've finished sanding, I just check it against the diameter to see that it fits, and I did have to do a few little adjustments, but now it works. I'm going to use my trusty clear Gorilla Glue so that anything doesn't drip or move around, that the glue just doesn't show. After making sure that the shelf sat straight, I let it dry. I added some strong hemp cording on the top. Just by tying knots, that will help prevent it slide through the little holes that were already there as decoration in the side. I think this is my first fully upcycled piece. I found this vintage pin display board at a garage sale and wanted to add something metallic to it. As usual, I'm using my favorite FolkArt chalk paint in the metallic copper color. I'm adding just a little bit of copper foil gilding to the piece using a little bit of gilding paste, which is basically like a glue that gets really sticky, and then it is a little difficult to get the foil on and have it also not stick to your fingers, but you just kind of apply it with your fingers and then use a brush to brush away the excess. There is a special gilding sealant that comes with the kit, so I use that to cover the copper foil, and it prevents it from flaking off anymore, and it also prevents it from tarnishing over time. Using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint clear coat to protect everything afterwards, and then I'll rip off that masking tape around the edge and use more masking tape to get rid of any of the last little bits of foil flakes that have stuck to the velvet. And here it is, my last project for this video complete. And I have a bonus item for you. This is a vintage plate that I turned into a jewelry organizer. It's hand painted and was done in 1986. It already has the hanging hardware on the back, so I'm just going to add some nice brass hooks to turn it into a jewelry organizer. I love giving more use to decorative items. That's all it took. As usual, here's a sneak peek into one of my future videos. So I've gotten a request to make full, regular speed and no commentary versions of my videos with music so that people can watch and listen. I know many like watching others paint and craft and they find it really relaxing. I really like this idea and I'll be starting to release those versions a week or so after the original, and I'll link them in the description boxes below. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.